If you're anything like me, you've tried different ways to manage stress over the years. Meditation apps, exercise programs, hobby groups. Some worked for a while, others didn't stick. But when I discovered that my own garden was the most powerful stress relief tool I'd ever encountered, I knew I'd found something special. Research confirms that gardening provides unique benefits, including enhanced physical activity through gentle movements like bending and reaching, exposure to vitamin D from sunlight, and improved balance and coordination. Benefits you simply can't get from indoor activities alone. Today, I want to share how I turned my garden into my daily therapy session, spending just 15 minutes each morning on what I now call my dirt therapy routine. The first step is setting up your dedicated space, and I want you to know this is simpler than you might think. You need 3 containers on a patio or balcony. You need basic tools, nothing fancy, a hand trowel, a small watering can, maybe a pair of gloves if you prefer them, and you need a commitment to 15 quiet minutes each morning. That's it. Here's what makes this space so special. When you step into your garden area, you're entering a zone that exists separate from everything else in your life. The dishes can wait. The phone stays inside. The news doesn't follow you out the door. Your only agenda is tending to living things. There's something deeply calming about having a space where the rules are different, where the pace slows down naturally. Now, choosing the right time matters more than you might think. I prefer early morning when dew still clings to leaves and the air feels fresh. The world is quieter then. Birds are just starting their day, and there's a peaceful quality to the light. The morning sunlight on your skin provides essential vitamin D, which supports bone health and immune function, particularly important as we age, though remember to wear sunscreen for skin protection. Research shows this outdoor morning activity contributes to better sleep quality later in the day. But late afternoon works beautifully too, when shadows lengthen and the heat of the day begins to ease. What matters is creating natural boundaries that signal to your brain it's time to shift gears. This is your time, not time stolen between other obligations. The sensory experience is what sets this practice apart from other stress management techniques. When you kneel beside your containers, you smell damp earth. It's a rich, organic scent that you simply can't replicate indoors. You feel the texture of leaves under your fingertips, some smooth and waxy, others fuzzy and soft. You hear birds responding to your presence. These engage your brain differently than indoor ones. The combination of natural light, fresh air, physical movement, and living things creates a unique experience that supports your overall well-being. And here's the real beauty of this approach. Container gardening provides the perfect entry point for those of us with limited mobility or space. You don't need a yard. Raised planters eliminate the need for bending or kneeling, which makes this accessible even if your joints aren't what they used to be. Everything happens at a comfortable height that you control. A patio corner works. A balcony works. Even a sunny windowsill with 3 well-chosen pots gives you everything you need for your daily practice. The magic isn't in having a large garden or expensive setup. I've seen people create their therapy space with containers from the dollar store and plants from the clearance rack. What matters is the consistency of showing up to this dedicated space with focused intention. Every single morning, rain or shine, you spend those 15 minutes with your plants. When you establish these simple inputs, a dedicated space, basic tools, consistent timing, and focused attention, something remarkable begins to happen during those 15 minutes with your hands in the soil. While you're pulling weeds or deadheading spent flowers, you're engaging in the type of mindful, repetitive activity that research shows reduces stress and promotes relaxation. It sounds almost too simple to be true, but this is where the real transformation occurs. Those 15 minutes of focused gardening activity trigger changes in both your mind and body. You're not just keeping plants alive. Something deeper is happening while your hands move through familiar motions. Mindfulness emerges naturally through the repetitive tasks. Weeding, watering, pruning. You don't need meditation apps or guided exercises. The actions themselves create the meditative state. Your attention narrows to what's directly in front of you. This weed needs pulling. That stem needs trimming. This soil needs watering. The repetitive nature of these tasks allows your mind to settle in ways that forced relaxation rarely achieves. When you're weeding, pulling each unwanted plant from the soil, your brain becomes genuinely occupied with the physical task. The anxious thoughts that typically cycle through your mind quiet down because you're focused on something tangible and immediate. It's not forcing relaxation. It's allowing rest through purposeful activity. The beauty of gardening lies in how it combines gentle physical movement with focused attention. You're bending down to inspect a plant. You're reaching up to deadhead a flower. You're lifting a watering can. These varied movements, bending, lifting, and reaching, provide gentle exercise that improves strength and flexibility. For many of us who may not engage in more strenuous exercise, these natural movements keep our bodies active without strain. Your body moves in ways that feel purposeful, never demanding, always within your comfort range. Meanwhile, your attention stays fixed on the immediate task. Nothing else demands your focus in this moment. There's a fascinating paradox at work here. Your hands are busy with what might seem like mundane tasks. Pull this weed, water that container, trim this stem. Yet your mind experiences something profound. You shift from rumination, that endless loop of worrying about the same things over and over, to presence. You're fully here, in this moment, with these plants. Research shows that this combination of movement and focus reduces stress more effectively than passive relaxation alone. Sitting quietly might help somewhat, but it doesn't engage your body and mind the way active gardening does. The physical movement combined with mental focus creates a more powerful effect on your overall well-being. There's another element that makes this practice so effective. When you care for something outside yourself, you create psychological distance from your personal worries. Your attention shifts from internal concerns to external needs. This plant needs water. That one is getting too much sun. The other one is ready to be divided. These tangible problems have tangible solutions, and focusing on them offers perspective that's nearly impossible to achieve when you're sitting alone with your thoughts spiraling inward. This explains why gardeners consistently describe feeling lighter or clearer after their garden time. It's not just a vague sense of well-being. The rich sensory experience of colors, sounds, and textures engages parts of your brain that indoor activities simply can't reach. The purposeful physical movement releases tension you didn't even know you were holding. After those 15 minutes, you step back inside feeling fundamentally different than when you stepped out. Your shoulders sit lower. Your breathing comes easier. The problems waiting inside haven't changed, but your capacity to face them has. What makes this shift even more meaningful is the relationship you're building with these living things that depend on your care each morning. Every morning when you check on your plants, you're stepping into a relationship that provides something many of us didn't realize we were missing. These living things genuinely depend on your knowledge and attention to thrive, and that dependency creates a renewed sense of purpose that fills a gap. Addresses this challenge in a way that few other activities can. When you step out to your containers each morning, you're not just watering plants. You're fulfilling a responsibility to living things that depend on you. Research shows that caring for plants provides seniors with a reason to get up each morning, as plants depend on their nurture and care to survive. The morning ritual of checking on your plants creates structure and meaning in your day. You notice new growth, a tiny leaf unfurling that wasn't there yesterday. You spot a problem before it worsens, catching yellowing leaves or drooping stems early enough to fix them. You celebrate a first bloom, that moment when weeks of care result in something beautiful opening up to greet you. These daily observations give your morning purpose before you've even had breakfast. Plants respond to care in visible, measurable ways that other activities simply don't provide. When you water correctly, the leaves perk up within hours. When you move a struggling plant to a shadier spot, you see improvement within days. When you divide an overcrowded container, both plants reward you with vigorous new growth. This immediate feedback tells you that your actions matter, that your care makes a tangible difference. I understand the fear that comes with retirement, the worry that your most productive years are behind you, that you no longer contribute meaningfully to the world. It's a real fear, and it can weigh heavily on your sense of self-worth. But here's what your garden does. It offers proof against this fear every single day. The plants flourish under your care. They produce beauty that neighbors comment on. They yield tomatoes or herbs you can share with friends. They demonstrate visibly that you still create value in the world. Your contributions might look different now, but they're no less real. There's deep satisfaction in understanding what each plant needs. This one wants more water because its leaves droop by afternoon. That one needs less direct sun because its edges are browning. The other is ready to be divided because it's bursting out of its container. Successfully providing what each plant requires, demonstrates that your accumulated wisdom still has genuine application. You're not less capable. You're applying decades of learning to observe, understand, and respond appropriately. When you successfully nurse a struggling plant back to health, or when you figure out the perfect spot for a finicky specimen, you're exercising problem-solving skills and practical knowledge. You're proving to yourself that you can still assess situations, make informed decisions, and achieve positive results. These aren't small victories. They're daily affirmations of your continued competence and value. Those of us who care for living things report feeling better about ourselves than those without such responsibilities. We experience lower rates of feeling down or hopeless because we have tangible evidence each day that we're needed and capable. The plants don't care that we're retired. They just need us to show up and apply our knowledge. And here's something wonderful that happens naturally through this practice. Community gardens, gardening clubs, or even sharing gardening tips with neighbors provide natural opportunities for interaction and can help combat the isolation that affects many seniors. Your garden becomes a conversation starter, a reason to connect with others who share your interest. This sense of purpose and accomplishment doesn't evaporate when you step back inside. It stays with you throughout the day, creating effects that reach far beyond those 15 minutes with your hands in the soil. Regular gardening can contribute to better sleep quality, and here's how the benefits build throughout your day. The outputs of dirt therapy extend far beyond those 15 minutes spent with your containers. You're creating measurable improvements that show up throughout your entire day and into the night. This is where you see the real return on your morning investment. Here's what I've experienced and what so many regular gardeners report. Conditions for restorative sleep at night. The physical tiredness from gardening is different from exhaustion. When you've spent 15 minutes bending, reaching, lifting your watering can, and moving around your containers, your body feels pleasantly tired. It's a satisfying fatigue that signals to your body that rest is earned and deserved. You're not drained or depleted. You're healthily tired in a way that makes lying down at night feel like a reward. The stress reduction you achieve during your morning garden time doesn't just disappear by lunch. It has a cumulative effect throughout the day. When you start your morning calm, centered, with stress levels already lowered from your garden session, you're preventing the buildup of anxiety that so often leads to nighttime rumination and insomnia. You're getting ahead of stress before it accumulates. The outdoor activities combined with fresh air and exposure to green spaces create the relaxation effects that support better sleep. But here's where it gets really interesting. Does better sleep alone explain why regular gardeners report feeling more resilient and less overwhelmed by life's challenges? I don't think so. There's something more happening here. The outputs work together in a way that builds on itself. Better sleep improves how you handle emotions. When you're well rested, daily stressors feel more manageable. That bill you need to pay, the appointment you need to schedule, the family situation that's been weighing on you. These challenges don't shrink, but your capacity to face them grows. When daily stressors feel more manageable, your overall anxiety decreases. When your anxiety is lower, you sleep better. And the cycle continues, each element reinforcing the others. This creates what I call a positive spiral instead of a negative one. So many of us have experienced the negative version. Poor sleep makes you irritable. Irritability makes small problems feel overwhelming. Feeling overwhelmed increases anxiety. Anxiety prevents good sleep. Round and round in the wrong direction. Dirt therapy reverses that spiral. Each morning session strengthens your resilience just a bit more. Each good night of sleep gives you better emotional tools for the next day. Each day of feeling capable and purposeful reduces the weight of worry you carry. Those who maintain regular nature-based activities show sustained mental health benefits over time. We're not talking about a temporary boost that fades after a few weeks. We're talking about long, sustained mental health benefits are accessible to anyone willing to commit to the practice. And the best part? You can experience every single one of these benefits regardless of your physical limitations or available space. Container gardening makes this entire system work for anyone regardless of physical limitations or available space. My dear friends, this is the ultimate accessibility solution that delivers full dirt therapy benefits without physical barriers. Here's what makes container gardening the ideal stress relief activity for those of us with limited mobility. Everything happens at a comfortable height. No bending down to ground level required. No kneeling on hard soil. No struggling to stand back up after working at ground level for several minutes. Raised beds or container gardening can reduce the need for constant bending or kneeling, and using ergonomic tools with padded handles can provide additional support and reduce strain on joints. You arrange your therapy space exactly where you need it, at exactly the height that works for your body. 3 to 5 well-chosen containers on a patio, balcony, or even a wide windowsill provide enough variety to create that essential 15-minute routine. One container might hold herbs that release fragrance when you brush against them. Another could feature a flowering plant that blooms throughout the season. A third might grow tomatoes or peppers that you can harvest and share. Each container gives you different tasks, different textures, different rewards. Let me share some practical details that make this work beautifully. Raised planters eliminate bending entirely. You can find them at various heights, and some come with legs that you can adjust. Lightweight pots made from resin or fiberglass can be moved easily as seasons change, letting you follow the sun or seek shade without straining your back. Self-watering containers reduce daily demands while maintaining your connection to the plants. They hold water in a reservoir below the soil, so you fill them less frequently, but still check on your plants daily. When selecting plants for your containers, opt for drought-tolerant plants, perennials, or native species that require minimal care. This makes gardening more manageable while ensuring your plants thrive with less intensive daily maintenance. You still get the therapeutic benefits of tending living things, but you're working with plants that forgive occasional lapses and reward basic attention with vigorous growth. Container gardens offer the same sensory experience as traditional gardens, just in a more manageable format. You still smell damp earth when you water. You still feel leaf textures under your fingertips. You still hear birds and watch butterflies visit your flowers. You still experience that mindfulness opportunity as you tend each plant. You still get that sense of accomplishment when new growth appears or problems get solved. I know some of you might worry that container gardening feels like a compromise, a lesser version of real gardening. Trust me, I understand that concern. But here's what I've discovered over years of working with containers. Container gardens often provide more intimate connections with your plants than traditional gardens do. When you have 3 to 5 containers instead of sprawling beds, you notice subtle changes more easily. That slight droop in a leaf catches your attention immediately. New growth stands out clearly. Problems get spotted before they become serious because you're working with a smaller, more focused space. You can adjust conditions more precisely with containers. A plant getting too much sun moves to a shadier spot in minutes. Soil too wet? You can let that specific container dry out without affecting others. Crowded roots? You divide just that one plant without disturbing everything around it. This control lets you develop deeper knowledge of each plant's needs because you can experiment and observe results clearly. It's essential to stay hydrated while gardening and consider using protective gear like gloves and sun hats to make the practice both safe and enjoyable. These simple precautions ensure you can maintain your daily routine comfortably throughout the seasons. What matters for dirt therapy isn't the size of your garden, it's the consistency of your practice and the quality of your attention during those 15 minutes. A balcony garden with 5 containers that you tend every single morning provides more therapeutic benefit than a large yard you only work in occasionally when energy permits. When you bring together the inputs, a dedicated container space with basic tools, the process, those 15 minutes of focused care that calm your mind and reduce stress, and the outputs, better sleep and lasting resilience, you create a complete system for mental wellness. Each element supports the others. The accessible setup makes daily practice possible. The daily practice creates the mental health benefits. The mental health benefits give you energy and motivation to continue. This accessible container approach specifically enables the daily consistency that research shows creates sustained mental health benefits over time, round and round in the most positive way possible. The transformation that happens through this simple, accessible system reaches deeper than you might expect. Your garden isn't just growing plants. It's cultivating better physical activity, enhanced mood, stronger social connections, and renewed daily purpose. Start tomorrow morning with just 1 container, 1 plant, and 15 minutes of attention.